I just finished part 1 of trying to make focaccia bread. Apparently that's one of the easiest breads to make, and now it's sitting in my fridge. I'm waiting for it to rise. I am super impatient when it comes to baking though, because I'm like, I need to bake this now. Like, I don't want to wait 24 hours for it to rise. That's a lot of waiting time. I just want to bake my bread and eat it. This is my first time baking bread, so I hope it turns out okay. If I'm patient enough, I'm going to leave it in the fridge for 24 hours. If not, I'm going to take it out after 4 and we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's been my day so far, and now I'm here sitting in bed. Let's jump into today's topic. Today I want to talk about healing versus distractions, because I was really going through it after my breakup, and right now I'm in my healing process. And amidst this whole process, I've seen a lot of lows, and I've also seen highs. Like, it's been a whirlwind of emotions and realizations and just growing. And a few weeks ago, my friends were asking me how I was feeling. And I remember, like, the week before they had asked that, I was having an absolutely horrible week. I was just sobbing every single day. I just felt horrible. My anxiety was eating me up. Like, I had sort of isolated myself for a period because I was like, I can't take this. But then a few weeks had gone by, and my friends checked in on me, and they were like, hey, how are you feeling? And when they asked that, I had gotten to a point where I could say, I'm actually feeling better. Like, I'm feeling okay. And I remember that week I would wake up and I wouldn't feel so anxious. I wasn't having the same bad dreams. I was feeling good. And it felt like I had reached a milestone where I could say I felt a little more at ease. You know, I felt like my thoughts weren't hurting me as much. And I was looking forward to that. I was like, maybe this is me crawling out of my little depressive hole that I'm in. Maybe I am learning to hurt less, which was great. And then the next week rolls around. And of course, after everybody asks me how I'm doing and I say I'm doing good, I'm feeling better, I feel horrible again. And I was trying to pinpoint the reason behind, why I was feeling horrible. Of course, healing isn't linear. Life happens in waves. We can have our lowest of lows, but we can also have our highest of highs within a matter of weeks. And so I was really trying to pinpoint, like, what is making me feel this lowest of lows. Like, I truly thought the previous week that I was healing. I was making progress in my healing, only to find that the next week I was feeling miserable again. And the drastic contrast in my emotions within those few weeks really got me wondering, am I healing, or am I just getting distracted? Or am I doing both? Am I healing in the midst of me getting distracted? Or am I just not healing at all, even though it feels like I'm healing? Like, I just kind of wanted to better understand what was happening. Now, healing, I've learned, is a very long and slow process, and it involves you having to be real with yourself. You have to be in touch with your emotions. You have to let yourself feel the hurt, feel the pain, reflect in order to come to senses with, what happened, why it made you feel the way it did, and just accept it and understand it. And one day move on. That was a lot of what I was hearing from everybody who was trying to help me. They were like, just feel your emotions. Don't push them aside, because later on, that could hurt you. If you are completely putting up a wall and just not feeling anything right now, and you're just suppressing all your emotions, it's going to bite you in the ass later. And you're going to feel every single ounce of that pain later on once you have no distraction left. And so in the beginning of this whole, healing girl era for me, I let myself cry. I let myself listen to music to help me process the emotions I was feeling. I became very self-aware, and I was very reflective on things like what I could have done better, how I can grow, what is it that I want to focus on moving forward, things like that, I just became very introspective and very self-aware of my emotions and what I wanted to do about them, and like just how to process it all. I really let myself feel all the feelings, and it was hard. It was a lot. Weeks went by and I was still, really, really feeling all the feelings out here. But it was like a month had passed, and then 2 months had passed, and I was still crying every day. I was breaking down in the middle of work. I didn't feel okay. I wasn't distracted. I was completely in my thoughts still, questioning everything, wondering everything, and reflecting on everything, that it got to a point where I was just completely exhausted of feeling anything in general. Like, I was exhausted of crying. I was exhausted of reflecting. I was exhausted of thinking about even positive things like my future goals, what I could work towards, how I want to improve myself, the steps I'm going to take to do that. Like, I was just so tired of, I guess, feeling hurt, and then all of the same thoughts that would go through my mind as a byproduct of feeling hurt, whether those thoughts were negative or positive. I was just tired that it was all linked back to this one thing of feeling hurt. And even though I knew, especially for me, in order to truly, I guess, heal in the long run, I did need to be in touch with my emotions. But the idea of escapism started to slowly creep into my brain, because it got to a point where I was like, I don't want to feel anything at all. Like, I was just exhausted, or I want to feel better. Like, I want to feel happy again. And the way I thought I could feel happy was working on the goals that I was thinking about as I was just reflecting within the crux of my pain. And because I think one of my biggest goals was to combat my social anxiety and to talk to more people, I started going out a lot. And I reconnected with a lot of people that I hadn't spoken to in years. These were people that I was close to in high school. And like, as of recently, I have reconnected with so many people, and it has been an amazing experience talking to each other after not talking for like 4 years. It feels like no time has passed. You know what I mean? Like, those were solid friendships in the past. So being able to reconnect with people has been such a great part of me and my healing journey, and just putting myself out there and talking to people and getting comfortable around people again. But also, I started to find myself constantly wanting to not be at home anymore. From the moment I wake up, if I had a free day, my initial instinct was to ask somebody, oh, are you free so we could do this or so we could do that? And I would go out with my friends, have a blast, enjoy my time. But then I would come home, and immediately, the second I was alone, the second I was in my room, in bed, the second I had, time to be in my own thoughts, I found myself being sad again, like immensely sad. No matter how good of a day I had with my friends, I would just come home and feel sad. And so I started wondering, like, what is this? There's sort of just a blurred line between healing and distraction, Like, it's healing for me to reconnect with people, yet maybe I'm just distracting myself because I'm going out and I don't have to think. And then when I come home and I'm in my own thoughts, like, I feel the same sadness that I felt weeks ago, and it feels almost stagnant at this point. Another example is, like, recently I've been buying a lot of clothes, buying a lot of makeup, and investing a lot of time into making myself look more presentable. Now, it's a blurred line again of like, am I doing this because I want to feel confident in myself and just take better care of myself and focus on myself and be confident in my own skin and be presentable for myself? Or am I investing all this extra time into these things because I don't feel good enough? Am I doing this because I seek the male gaze to fill the hole in my heart? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. Part of me feels like I'm doing all of these things because I want to put effort into myself. I want to allow myself to have a good time. I want myself to look more presentable, and I want to take care of myself. But also, am I doing all of this just because I don't want to think or because I want to feel good enough and I don't feel good enough right now? I've been journaling a lot and I just noticed that no matter what I do, I'm feeling sad and I just crave that feeling of escapism. I want a distraction wherever I can find it. And when I can't get that distraction anywhere, I'm just constantly on my phone. In the recent months, I've spent an unhealthy amount of time on TikTok because it's like every few seconds my brain is distracted with a new video and then I don't have to think anymore. When I'm having an okay time with other people or when I'm distracted, yes, I feel like I can say I am healing, it's all good. And then when I'm left to be in my own thoughts, I can confidently say nothing has changed, I feel the same. And so what does it mean then? What does it mean to heal? Where do I go from here? What else can I do? What else can you do when you feel like you have put so much effort into trying to heal and to bettering yourself, and yet you feel stuck? It's so easy to feel stuck, to feel like you're putting in 110% effort into bettering yourself and to still feel stuck at the end of the day. But why is it that it's so easy to feel that way? Like, why can't I just feel any better? Why is it that within these past months, I've spent so much time reflecting, I've spent so much time feeling the pain, I've spent time trying to pull myself out of that pain, I've done things like started driving because I had bad driving anxiety. So I'm finally driving myself, driving my friends around, doing what I've always should have been doing, as I've finally learned to do that. I'm reconnecting with all of my good friends. I'm going to the gym. I'm engaging in hobbies. Like, I'm open to meeting new people. When I say all of that out loud, it sounds like I am going through this healing girl journey where it's like I should be feeling better. But at the end of the day, I don't. Like, even in the middle of work, when I'm so distracted with work, some random thought will hit me and I'll just break down during work. My brain, my body, my nervous system, everything is just so exhausted from feeling that hurt. I just want it to be done with. But I think the important thing that I need to understand is that you can't rush the healing process. You simply can't. And sometimes it feels like that's what I'm aiming to do. No matter what you do, no matter how much you work on yourself, no matter how self-aware you are, no matter how many goals you set, no matter how much you've changed, some things will just hurt, and they'll hurt for a long time. But they won't hurt every day. It might hurt sometimes. It might hurt worse on some days than compared to other days. And I think that's truly what the healing process is. I can be doing this and that. I could be going out all I want. And it could make me feel better, but it's not truly healing my inner soul. As Taylor Swift has said, you don't have to forgive and you don't have to forget. You just become indifferent and then you move on. So it's kind of like it is what it is. Eventually, you move forward. In order to get to the point where you do feel indifferent, it just takes time. It's all time. Healing is all time. I could do anything in the world, but at the end of the day, I can still feel hurt. But as time goes on, like, let's say in 50 years from now, I'm going to look back and I know I'm not going to feel as hurt as I feel right now. I think part of me has just been trying too hard to heal in a faster manner, but I don't think that can be done. I think as time passes, you can do things that support your healing. It might not speed up your healing, but it might make the healing process a little bit more bearable. Like, I almost feel this pressure to be like, I need to feel okay now because it's been months and like, why am I here wasting my time feeling sad when I could just not be sad? But in reality, I think I need to feel sad for X amount of time in order for me to reach a point where I just become indifferent or just it doesn't matter anymore and you move forward, because what else can you do? You can be healing and you can also be distracted. time is always moving forward, and so are you. Even if it doesn't feel like it, you're moving with time. I'm going to continue to practice healthier habits of feeling better because that's what I can do. That's what I have control over. Let's say like a year passes, right? And I start to feel better. I could have done nothing within the year. I could have sat there and moped until the feeling started to go away. Or I could have moped but also done something with myself to work on self-improvement whilst time was working on healing my emotions. So that's where I am with my healing girl era right now. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you guys next time with another episode of Young Adult Problems. See ya!